Debra Meiburg, and I'm with Jasper Morris, Master of Wine, who just wrote, well, what will probably be the definitive guide to Burgundy, and if not, at least one of the heaviest books I own on Burgundy. Jasper, how long did it take you to write such a thorough examination of the region?
Well, I hope you're going to judge it by what's inside rather than the weight. But it's taken me 2 years in the actual creation of the book, but it's come out from all my lifetime study.
Well, you spent 20 years.
I spent 20 years in Burgundy.
Hanging out in Burgundy. And what were some of the surprises for you in creating a book like this?
Well, there were bits of information that I knew, areas that I knew, producers I knew, and the book has enabled me to go and see all sorts of other people who I've heard were good but hadn't had the chance to visit. So the ability to be able to go from the top of the region in Chablis down to Mâcon and see all sorts of different producers was endlessly fascinating.
So tell me, how many producers have you profiled in this book?
There are between 400 and 500 producers, but actually...
And then the regions?
Well, that's where this book differs from anything that's been before, because I've concentrated on the vineyard sites. And there are actually profiles of 1,000 different vineyard sites, which gives you an indication of how complex Burgundy is.
And how do you keep them all straight? Because for me, I lay in bed at night when I can't sleep and I memorize Burgundy appellations. But I mean, is it instinctive for you at this stage?
Writing them down. Yes, more or less. And you see different patterns from different regions that emerge. If you have a vineyard called Les Charmes, and it could be in Meursault-les-Charmes, or it could be in Mâcon, it could be red, it could be white. But any vineyard called Les Charmes in Burgundy seems to have a character in common.
Which is?
Which is that the wines are quite soft and quite rounded and quite charming.
Charming.
Exactly,
yeah.
Yes.
Burgundy can be complicated enough that you need a book this thick, but how would the average person tackle the region? What's the best way to begin with Burgundy?
It is frustratingly difficult to understand at the start because it can be so complicated. The easy bit is there's just 2 grape varieties, Pinot Noir for reds, Chardonnay for whites. After that, you can either find a particular area, a village that you like, or perhaps it's easier to find a producer that really works for you, and then you can spread out from there.
And any tips? What could we look for? Like my own experience, if I look for the word clos, it's typically a good site. Any other good tips for us? Tricks?
Absolutely. Clos normally means that this was a special vineyard and recognised as that from years gone by. There's a lot of secret answers in the names. It's a complex subject, but the answers can be there.
And the book, how would you tackle this book? I mean, because you know,
I'm not going to insist that everybody
read it cover to cover. Well, how's it laid out?
The first 100 pages tell you about the region and the background to it, and give you a fundamental understanding. And that's not too big a handful, 100 pages. After that, it goes through the regions, and at that point, you might want to use it a little bit more as a reference work.
What are some of the key names to remember in Burgundy? You
do find the same names that recur from one village to another, and they have similar characters. Like whenever you get Charmes, and most villages will have a vineyard called Charmes, Meursault-Charmes, the wines tend to be soft and rounded and indeed charming.
Charming.
Or you might find Les Cras, C-R-A-S, which is the French word for chalk, and it means that these are typically very rocky soils and make very mineral wines, very different from Charmes.
And what is Chapelle? What does Chapelle mean? Chapelle Chambertin.
It's a chapel. There used to be a chapel to Notre Dame.
There must have been lots
in the
of
vineyards.
chapels in the area.
There are a lot of the vineyards have either religious names or the names of famous families in years gone by.
All right then. Well, I look forward to reading it. I promise you I'll devour it.
Great. Thank you, Debra.
Thank you.